Test, test, test. My nuts are fucking blessed. Welcome back to the Midnight Coffee Shop podcast. I'm your host, AJ, aka Patient Zero of the Zombie Apocalypse. Today, we got a few topics to talk about. Got some news as well involving some very good releases and some kind of okay delays, which is pretty nice. As well as a couple of competitive LCS things coming. But as always, I am joined by my two co-hosts.
Name's Devontae.
I'm Cole.
He's Cole. But yeah, so to start off the news, today is Wednesday, April 19th. This is recorded a week before it gets put out. Yesterday, April 18th, the Riot Forge game. Oh man, what was the game called? Fuck. I had it written
Mage
down.
Seeker?
Mage Seeker. Yeah, Mage Seeker released yesterday. I don't think any of you two have played it.
Yeah, what is Mage Seeker?
New Riot Forge games. Remember when they released the Ruin King last year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, new game made by like that.
Okay.
Set in the League of Legends universe.
Okay, it's the
Follow
same kind of
Cyrus.
game?
No, not the same style.
Okay.
Because they're all made published by Riot Forge, but they're all made by different studios.
Okay.
Is
So
it outsourced, right? I think it's outsourced.
I think so. It's something.
So it's like
that.
Riot partnering with like
Yeah.
indie companies and making
Kinda,
games?
yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Exactly. Mage Seeker is just a roguelite with, what'd you say, procedurally generated?
Yeah, random procedure or like procedure generated content.
Yeah, to
Or
follow out
something.
on missions. Anyways, like I said, neither of them have played it. I played 3 hours of it last night because I went and
Damn.
bought it and downloaded it. Pretty fucking fun.
How
I
much they
enjoyed
want
it a
for
lot. Dude, it's a lot. It's more than like I would honestly think it would be. I expected it to be tops $30, but I think it was $40. It's either that or it was $30.
What was the first one? How much was the first one? The first thing they did?
Ruin King?
Yeah, with the Leoi and...
I believe that one was like 30 to 40, somewhere around there, maybe.
I think it also
I
had
thought it
like,
was like 20, 25 bucks.
It might be 25.
I thought it was
now.
like super cheap.
I know it had like the playback or like how many hours of content you had was definitely worth the money.
Oh yeah, I mean this one supposedly has about like 15 hours of content.
So yeah, you can't really beat that unless that's what it is.
Yeah. There's another release coming later this week that I will talk about at the end because it pertains to our actual topic. For the delays, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. I don't know if either of you have heard news about that game.
Not good.
Nope.
Not particular, not bad, but not particularly.
It got delayed till February 2nd, 2024.
Wow, delays
Instead
of
of-
Dead Island 2 in the same subject.
I know,
In
right?
the same...
I know, what was it, when I first saw the trailer, I know everyone was complaining about how every character basically just kind of looked the same, like, or not looked the same, but had like, basically it was the same kind of style of
They
combat.
gave a lot of people the same style of combat, but also like they put a lot of people with the same personalities together, which is weird for a game that what it's like because I think it's supposed to be like a Left 4 Dead style game. I don't remember.
I can't
off the
remember,
top of
yeah,
my
I don't know
head,
about that. Or I don't, like, know.
But that's all I got for delays. I put this together very shortly, and I will have more information on stuff for next week. For League of Legends, first off, I want to start with the new PvE hit yesterday with the Ink Shadow
Wait.
skins, the Dawn and Nightbringer skins, and the Nico update.
I didn't know.
What's the Nico
I
update?
forgot about that.
Her ultimate now knocks people up. She can
Okay.
control the clone that her W makes.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Wasn't also they were trying to do something with their...
Her passive now, she can not only turn into champions, but she can turn into minions, jungle buffs, jungle plants, wards, and I found this out looking on Twitter earlier today. She can turn into Zac Blobs from his passive.
It's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I might actually pick her up.
There's
So
also a
the-
new thing going on in TFT where Oxforce was reworked.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They gained bonus defenses instead of being like immune anymore.
Yeah, just immediate death.
Once per combat, when they drop below 1 HP, I think it was half, They instead shield themselves for 50% of their maximum health for 1.5 seconds.
All right,
Okay.
all right.
Pretty
Like good,
nice.
good against burst damage. It's much better than
Yeah.
how it was.
As
Oh,
for
you're about
the-
to die?
Yeah. Here's a shield. Instead of like, it's good to have against ace, not have against aces anymore. It gives aces much more of a way to play the game. There was a change to aces as well where I didn't understand it because it was like aces have to deal damage to get to execute now.
I don't think that.
But like I
That's
don't
right.
understand like
Maybe it's because there was like a
like the wording in it.
maybe it was like there was like a case like special cases where
I got no
Just
clue.
having an ace on your team and they got below, just executing them. I don't think that was the case.
I don't
though, 'cause
know.
I feel
I
like
don't
I
know.
ran.
More Dog put out the tweet.
Maybe
Maybe
it's
put
for,
out
like,
like all the
clarity.
information on it.
I got
no
as
clue,
I
though.
played a game last night and I had an Infinity Team Misfortune and an Infinity Team Fiddlesticks and I won the game. It's that easy.
You're a loser. Anyways, as for competitive league, MSI is coming on May 2nd. 4 teams from all the major regions, as well as, 2 teams per major region for all 4 major regions, as well as 4 teams from different wildcard regions. With C9 and Golden Guardian somehow as the North American reps. I believe JDG and BLG being the LPL, which is Chinese teams, the Chinese league. Those are the reps there. For the Korean leagues, LCK, it is Jinji and T1. And then for the LEC, which is the European league, right now is G2. And I think G2 and BDS are in the finals. I think if G2 wins, it's G2 and Astralis going to MSI. If BDS wins, I think it's G2 and BDS. I'm not positive on that, and I don't have a way to look up the information reliably right now. But somehow Golden Guardians has made their way into this. I got no clue how. That is all that I really have for any news, besides Dead Island 2 being released on April 21st, 2023. 2 days after this recording.
Are you sure they aren't gonna give it like a delay at some point?
I will die.
Yeah,
Just
I'll
not
be in a
even
lot of pain.
suicide. Not even suicide. I think I just die.
I'll be in a lot of pain if they wait.
No, we
this
gotta put a
long
trigger
to
warning
delay.
now because of that. You said too. We gotta cut that. We gotta cut
Not
that.
even
out.
unaliving myself.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
I
why
would
the
just die.
pre-download isn't available.
Maybe they're just gonna delay it for another
They're just
4
gonna
years.
delay it on the 21st.
They're gonna announce like, oh, April 21st, 2023. No. We meant April 21st, 2030.
20 nip.
20, yeah.
But
20 figment of your
I'm-
imagination.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this fucking game. I've been waiting years. To
I
play
get
this
2
shit.
weeks out of a year to take off work, and I took a day off for this game. It better release on Friday.
Is it paid vacation?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't do that. I'm just straight up not going to work.
That's fair. That's fair.
But fuck, man, I'm so excited. I fucking love this game series.
For me, it's when Baldur's Gate 3 comes out. That's
Dude.
when I'm like,
Doesn't that come out later this year too?
yeah, I think late, like August.
Something like that. I know there's like a fuck ton of games releasing then.
But oh man, when that comes out,
It's always at the end of the year.
Mhm.
For Christmas.
For Christmas.
For Christmas.
Whoa!
But so, Dead Island 2. Can you give me like a
rundown of what it's gonna be about.
any information?
We don't have a ton.
Yeah,
or I
haven't seen
specifically,
much.
because I didn't want to go look for spoilers.
Me
I
either.
I actually rarely have that attitude about a game. But for this one specifically, I was like, I'll get all the information that like I need.
I want
and
to
I'll
soak
dip it.
this in.
The only thing I really know about it is it takes place in Los Angeles, which is the whole joke about welcome to LA.
Yeah.
Big play on words. It doesn't feature, or no, it does feature one person from the previous games, as far as I know. It might feature more, it might feature. They might have just been bullshitting us with the feature.
They'll Easter eggs and stuff in there, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. But the character is Sam B, who is a completely different model and a completely different voice actor. But it is the name Sam B and it is the same character per se. I understand why. It sucks though, because I loved old Sam B.
Oh yeah, Sam B was. He had
Voodoo,
a.
you voodoo. I got I got a zombie on me, and you can't harm me. Voodoo, you voodoo.
Sam B got the thing that go.
Okay, we can't
Go up in the night.
we can't be singing at all. It's man, he was such a cool character. He was fucking voiced by Phil Lamar. I didn't know that. It's awesome.
I don't know who Phil Lamar is.
Samurai Jack.
Oh.
Yeah, Samurai Jack. He did Static Shock.
Oh yeah.
He did some fucking character on
Scott just told me
Futurama.
about this.
Yeah, I fucking love it. And I guess they just couldn't get Phil Lamar back, so they went in a different direction with the character. He doesn't even have a New Orleans accent anymore, man.
What? That was his whole backstory.
I know, right? I was born in Knowles.
Yeah, I was born in. This is his whole shtick.
Just a little bit unfortunate. I don't know anything about what they've changed him to, like his accent. I don't remember who his new voice actor is either. I didn't look too much into it because I don't want to be spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big thing. Not really a tangent, but just a thing of like why I don't go looking into shit anymore. I had fucking God of War Ragnarok spoiled for me because I was looking for a mocap actor or actress because I was like, oh, she looks similar to Marisha Ray. Is it Marisha Ray? And then it was like it gave out all the information of the character and just completely spoiled the story. And I'm like, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, well.
But besides that, like I said, I didn't look too much into it. I just saw the headline, read a few sentences into the article, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Some of the other things that I've learned about Dead Island 2, where I read the headline and listen to like a spoiler-free talk about it. The story in it isn't going to be as serious as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the original Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide, sure, it was this fun like beat 'em up zombie game with a ton of gore, and you know your characters go, oh fuck man, god damn.
And some good ragdoll.
Yeah, amazing ragdolls. Sure, it was also like glitchy as hell, but it had all that, and it had this like crazy, heartfelt story to it. Really, like there were a lot of moments in the game where it was like someone died that you didn't expect to die in a surprisingly sorrowful and sad way.
Mm-hmm.
Some examples are fucking Mike burning his friends' bodies. More than likely, friends that he came to that island with and expected to leave with. Just shit like that. It had a lot of those heartfelt, like heart-gripping moments.
Like when you bust into the bungalow and they were in the middle of a porno. And they're still recording.
The fucking,
Is this for real? For real? I
Yes,
can't tell if
yes.
it's for real. For real.
It's a Jenna Jameson reference.
I don't know who Jenna.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But I know for me, or was it? I know one of the things that I thought was cool. I didn't have like anything at the time to basically be able to play it, but the trailer for the first Dead Island.
Oh my god, that trailer is great.
Phenomenal. That sold the game.
You can find is it the trailer where it's the couple and their daughter turns?
Yeah.
You can find that couple in the first few seconds of the game.
Yeah.
When you come out of your hotel room, you take a left and you go down the hall instead of taking a right and following the story. Take a left, go all the way down the hall, and that door is their room, and you can go in there.
Yeah,
and they're on the
look
ground.
up. Yeah.
The only sad part like about it is the window's not broken, which continuity.
No immersion.
And there's also there's a fucking axe. The axe on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You can't pick it up.
Can't figure it
It's
out.
just there.
It's not even legendary.
Nope, it's just there.
Or if it was legendary, but you couldn't pick it up.
It probably is.
Think
You
it'd
could,
be cool.
you could probably find a way back to it when you go through the hotel. I'm joking. You cannot. I've tried.
Don't try that.
I did actually recently start a new playthrough of it. I'm not even halfway through No, I am. I'm almost out of the resort.
I'm to the city, in my playthrough.
But I started playing the Sam B just because I've played so much as Logan. And I was like, I'll play this one as Sam B, and then I'll play the next one as like Shin Mei or something like that. And I'm not going to beat it by the time Dead Island 2 comes out. But yeah, it had a lot of those heart-gripping story moments. And then, from what I've heard of Dead Island 2, it's going to be so much more like slapstick comedy, like tongue in cheek,
Uh,
which is like I get it. Like you can easily go that route with this kind of game. I just wish it still kept that like.
for me, it feel like they kind of like, hey, wasn't this done before?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely been done before, both in movies, TV shows, and games.
I mean, like, yeah, but I don't know. It just seems like it seems like it'd be hard to kind of call it that. Well, no, because you have Saints Row that kind of redesigned itself from the second game to the third game. So
Yeah, and then their new reboot. That's a topic for another day.
I still don't like the fourth one. I didn't even.
Fourth one was okay. Anyways.
Yeah, but anyways, so all right, you have to run me through the special infected because I know there's the butcher thing with the little stubs on his arms.
Yeah,
the
butcher's dope, and they all got redesigns. I'm pretty sure,
Mm-hmm.
and he's
Sorry.
all good. He's the one that's been revealed, as far as I know. I'm sure others have, and they've shown up in trailers probably. But he's the only one I've seen, and his new redesign looks dope as fuck. He looks like So with all the special infected, they were something pertaining to what they ended up becoming.
Mm-hmm.
So like, first off, there's walkers. Your basic ass zombies. They move slow. They got rigor mortis setting in.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole goal is just bite you.
Yeah.
Then you have the infected. They're fast. They're newly turned, but they're super weak. It takes them like 2 hits to die. Then the next
They're a
thing
glass cannon now.
absolutely, they'll fuck you up.
In the first one, if they got one swing on you, they were
You were
about
stun locked.
they were about to swing on you like 3 more times. They was about to go. They literally
They
run to you and
windmill.
just windmill.
They
you, dude.
windmill.
They literally start windmilling, dude.
You meet the infected first. Actually, they're the first zombies that you see in the game because they're in the hotel when you go through the prologue. Then when you get out and you get saved by Cinnamon and you help him fight, you fight off the walkers. Next, you'll go to the lighthouse. No, not the lighthouse. The lifeguard tower. And when you open up the lifeguard tower, that's your first encounter with the thug. And then after that, you don't really meet a lot of other special infected for a solid 5 or 6 missions, like main quests. And then it's the suicider. You'll come out of the hotel, see a helicopter crashing. And when you get back to Cinnamon, he'll tell you, hey, go check out that helicopter crash. When you walk up to the helicopter crash, cutscene plays, and the suicider comes out. Suicider is actually like one of the dopest fucking special infected, in my opinion. Just because of the fact that there's possibly still a semblance of humanity inside of them. Either that, or they act like a fucking anglerfish. And it's awesome. Because they waddle around, they got all this like bulbous pustules popping up over their shoulders and on their heads. They're really slow. They walk with this very slow lurch. And they whisper, but it's loud as fuck still. Just help me. Constantly. Like, even before you encounter a suicider, you'll hear it echo out throughout the map. Just like, help me. It's awesome. I fucking love that sort of ambiance and like mystery to it. The thing about suiciders though, if you go too close to them, they just start like spasming. They'll spasm like 3 or 4 times and then blow up. And they will one-shot you.
Yeah, they one-shot pretty much anything.
I think I remember seeing like a clip of that.
It's
Like, where you basically just get like flown, like ragdolled basically.
Sometimes you can get really lucky and like they won't notice you, and you can get a hit in on them, and they won't blow up. Happened to me earlier. Don't know how the fuck it happened. I walked into I walked into one of the beach bars, and he was in the beach bar.
That's right. Yeah.
And like I turned around to like be face to face with him. I hit him with a baseball bat, and then he turned around, and I'm like, okay. He just left, walked away, took out a knife, and just threw it at him.
Is that the goal? Is it easier, like, if you want to do it with them, you want to, like, basically throw something at them?
Yeah, you just throw something at them.
It's
the
like,
easiest thing.
if they're alone and you can do it, or you don't have anything you want to throw, you don't want to throw blunt weapons at them, because the explosion will knock away your blunt weapon. and then sometimes they'll fuck it up and glitch it through the bottom of the map, throw it to a place where you can't go get it, just shit like that. So sharp weapons are typically what you want to throw at them because they'll stick in them, they'll blow up, and also if they blow up and they kill any zombies around them, you get that XP as well, which is dope. And then you can just go pick your weapon back up. But there's them. Then when you get to the city, you encounter the Rams, which seem to be former mental asylum patients. They're stuck in straitjackets.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're definitely on the trail.
Ones where they're like they
Yeah.
charge you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got a big, giant, weak spot. And all of them have like certain ways that you deal with them.
They got a bad back.
They got bad back. They got a weak spot on their back, and that's the only place where you'll do more than 1 damage to them. Other than that, if you hit them anywhere else, you're doing 1 damage.
Yeah.
Dang.
And if you try to just like go around them because they're really slow, like circle them and just like keep them spinning,
they'll whip around.
they'll whip around and
They
just
kick
kick you right in the chest.
Mm-hmm. I remember that being like.
Then you go on the ground, and you're like, and you're going
Immediately charging at you. Let's see. You encounter them outside the church, do all the church quests. Eventually, Jen gets kidnapped by the police station because she goes to try to help them, and they turn out to be a bunch of filthy fucking hooligans. And the only way to... No, I'm wrong about that. You don't go to the sewers. You do go to the sewers police station, but that's not the first time you go to the sewers. First time you go to the sewers, you're trying to get to the supermarket. So you go through the sewers, and when you open the first gate of it, that's when the floater appears. And it's just... If you remember the boomers from Dead Island and the spitters,
Yeah.
basically those two mashed together. Except for the boomer exploding the zombie attracting goo onto you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this really big fat zombie just bloated from the water. That's where they're typically found too, is a bunch of water areas.
Mm-hmm.
And he just spits toxic goo at you. They're not too bad to fight though. You can easily fucking
yeah,
kill them.
super easy.
Just walk up and just hit him as fast as you can.
But when you get to the jungle,
The jungle. Go through all the quests in the city. Eventually you'll have to go back to Sinmoy. Sinmoy's like, yo, we got word of some people over in the jungle. There's also a quest you get like at the start of the
so
game
weird.
that you can't beat until you go to the jungle. It's dumb as fuck. Anyways, get to the jungle. Probably about the middle of the map is when you encounter it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll go through some of the old war trenches because Benoit used to be one of the islands that was fought over in World War II. So you'll go through some of the old war trenches, and some thug or soldier or something like that gets thrown off from one of the walkways above, rolls across the ground because of how hard he's thrown, and then the butcher drops down. And it's this bloodied, gory mess. It's got army fatigues. It has no hands. They've been completely like whittled down to stumps, and it has no face. It's just raw like skull and meat. And it's awesome. It's such a cool design. And he just sprints at you and fucks you up. And there's
He's like a thug infected.
yeah, combined. And then they have those in the second game. This is dumb as fuck.
Didn't they already have like a thug? Wasn't it called like one of the special infected was called a thug?
Yeah.
Like the giant one. So wait, what's the special thing that the butcher does? Is it just like rapid attacks or?
It's rapid, high damage attacks, and I think he's actually pretty tanky too.
Damn.
I think there's only like
It does not stop swinging on you.
no, there's like 4 or 5 in the game in total. Like
That's
compared
how
to the other
distinct.
infected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're that tough. Yeah, we literally just save our special just for the butcher.
Oh yeah.
But he's that fucking tough. Like, if you try to just straight
There
out
were like
train him or something, you can't.
3 spots where it was impossible to not use the special.
Yeah, because one of them is literally like a hallway. Like
Oh,
it says
yeah.
trench. It's just a straight like hallway, and you see him at the end of the hallway, and it's like, well, it's either get out of the trench and get fucked, or stay in the trench and get fucked.
You don't win.
Yes. Hard decision right there, buddy.
Then, in Dead Island Riptide, they add 3 new infected, I think. I might be wrong on that. It's been a
I can't
minute since I
remember.
played Riptide.
I remember the one big gooey one, like big, like he had the big meat
Yeah, I
sack.
know what you're talking about. The first one is the Drowner, which is just a lot of the times when you're walking through the world, there's walkers on the ground. Some of them are dead, and some of them are faking being dead. You can kick them and like they'll pop up. The Drowners are similar. They'll lie face down in the water. Some of them are dead, or some of them are alive. If you walk into the water though, they'll start popping up, and they run as fast as an infected.
Mm.
And so they'll start coming trying to kill you. Typically, they're just as weak as an infected, though, and you can just knock them out in a couple of hits. Then there's the Screamers, which I believe also used to be mental asylum patients. They got the headgear.
I know what you're talking about.
When they scream, if you're within a certain area, it'll stun you and damage you. And it also attracts more zombies to the area.
Mm.
So in Dead Island Riptide, you had to do like base defenses for certain points. It was cool, but it was annoying. When a screamer came, you had to take out the screamer immediately, or they would just attract more infected to fight. Fucking annoying shit. And then what Cole was talking about was the Crusher, I believe it was.
I can't remember what he was called.
I think it was actually the first one where we saw a person actually turn.
Yeah, that's right. He turns into it right in front of you.
Yeah. Unless you want to count, like, what was his name? Riker or Ryder at the end of the first game? Because he technically turns. He injects himself with the quote-unquote cure and then goes berserk. But it was a dude named Wayne. He was a merchant in your group, and he would sell you throwable weapons. He had legendary throwing knives that you could get. But he gets bit at some point when you're trying to... Because there's only 2 acts in Riptide. There's the jungle and the city. When you're trying to leave the jungle, Wayne ends up getting bit, and you try to go through the old military tunnels. And when you get out of the tunnels, Wayne starts turning, shoves you away, and then his like arm where he got bit, I guess it was the radioactivity in the tunnels. That's right. Because they had radioactive waste down there.
Mm.
I guess that mutated what the strain of the virus he had, and it caused his arm to swell up, almost like the Chargers from Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
Sort of like that. I think it also fused. He like grabbed some rebar or something like that, and it fused his hand to it. It's some shit like that. And he just became this giant hulking mass of flesh, basically, and would just go at you, try to kill you. And you had to kill him to get past him.
It says right here that the Crusher thing was the wrestler. But
The wrestler, that's
The
it.
wrestler is the Crusher thing with the mutated arm.
Yep. I
Yeah,
forgot it was
that
the
thing looks-
wrestler. I forgot that's what they called it.
I think it looks pretty ballin' though.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of boss zombies in that game too.
Yeah, a lot of the
uniquely
thug
named.
infected.
Yeah, uniquely named zombies.
Yeah, they had these things called dead zones, which were their like miniature dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing that is supposedly making a return in Dead Island 2.
Sweet, I liked it.
Yeah, that was cool. But it was like little mini dungeons where a boss infected would spawn. You can go and fight it and kill it and complete the dead zone. It was cool. It had like a little what was it called? A little like codex entry for them. It was awesome. It was some cool little moments. There was one change that I liked from Dead Island to Dead Island Riptide that it took me a while to notice. But in Dead Island, you know, you get a car. Cars are pretty strong. They'll kill anything in like a couple of hits. And they give you full XP for it. If you play a Riptide though, it'll like in the original one, it takes maybe like 2 or 3 depending on where you hit them. In Riptide, it'll kill them in 1 hit, but it only gives you 1 XP. They completely removed like a car exploit basically.
Just in the like back it up.
Yeah, but I love that change. It was honestly like dope.
It
makes you actually have to get out to fight.
You had boats in Riptide. They had a lot more water in Riptide. You travel around a lot more by water in Riptide.
Is the map bigger or? Would you say it's like?
It's only 2 acts.
I wouldn't say bigger.
It's probably about the.
I'd say like more clustered.
Yeah, there was
like,
a lot more.
I wouldn't say
to,
less material, just like a map on a map almost.
Yeah.
Like
there was also a lot more like inside areas.
Yeah, there's a lot more like inside. Like the best way I could describe it is like if a map had an underground versus just being a bigger map.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
I got you. Like where you can do like layering to where you're not.
Yeah, it's like layered. It's a lot of it's layered in Riptide.
Yeah.
Riptide also, it kind of followed the same story as.
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah, as in like. It was as if you were playing the first game again, but more concise.
Just kind of like recycled.
Yeah.
Where it's
Which
kind of
is
different, but
unfortunate.
not.
But at the same time, it made Riptide still an enjoyable game.
Mhm.
There were some cool ass story beats that were new. Specifically, oh fuck, what's his name? It's like Marcus or some shit. He was a missionary to the island
Oh, I remember.
before the infection got there, and he gets trapped somewhere. You go and save him, bring him back to your group, and he starts spouting off on this bullshit of like, this is God's punishment. This is God's punishment, and I'm his apostle. All this shit. And then he's like, this is his punishment, and we must accept it, which is why I called all the infected in the area right here to our base. And you're like, huh? And he's like, yes. And now I will join them, and burns himself alive. It is batshit insane and awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of skipping a few steps. He's not really joining them, is he?
I know, right?
He's just kind of,
It was so cool, though. It was so cool to see.
That is cool.
There were a bunch of like cooler story beats. Specifically the one with what's his name? Corporal Hardy, I think it was. You meet Hardy at the beginning of Riptide, because at the end of that island you get off the island on a helicopter, go to a American air carrier, and you meet the soldiers manning it. One of them being Corporal Hardy. And at the beginning of Riptide, you're with Hardy, and Hardy tells you like, yeah, we're gonna take you to the brig, run some tests on you, figure out like how we can fight the infection. And then as you're going to the brig, they just fucking nuke the island that you just came from. Everybody that you were supposed to help, dead. And Hardy had no idea that was gonna happen. Hardy's like,
why would they do this?
yeah. And Hardy's like, oh shit, man, I'm sorry. And you're like, fuck you, Hardy.
What would you? How is it that the main characters have the immunity?
It's something to do with their blood type.
Wasn't it like blood type 0?
It's like O negative
It's like
or
O
O
negative.
plus.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I think it's O negative.
Yeah, O negative, you're immune. And O negatives, I think, is the rarest blood type, right?
It's something like that.
Either that or AB, something.
AB, I think it's AB negative.
Yeah, some shit like that.
I think I think it's O negative.
O
I think
is
O is the
universal.
one that's like universal.
But
Yeah.
maybe it's that you have to receive a specific.
Yeah,
I think
O
it's-
has to receive a specific, but anyone can receive O. I think it's negative or plus. I don't know.
I think it's negative, but yeah, all the survivors that you play as have O negative blood type. In the original game, there's only 4 survivors who have O negative blood type, which is your main characters: Shenmei, Sanbi, Logan, and Perma. In the new game, not the new game, but Riptide, there are 5: Sanbi, Logan, Shenmei, Perna, and then John. Gave him this basic ass name. Basically took like half of Sanbi's like not stereotype,
Like
but,
his weapon type.
yeah, his specialization.
Yeah.
Which is hand to hand combat. Took half of that, gave it to John. Then couldn't even give him like the ultimate that would make sense. Sam B's ultimate beats you with his fist. John's ultimate, despite being a hand to hand specialist, pulls out a fucking staff and goes ham with that. They gave it to John, and then there's a 6th survivor that you don't get to play as, who has immunity. Her name is Harlan, I believe, and spoilers, she becomes the main villain, basically, towards the end. I saw someone say, like, it's only a theory, I don't think it's ever been confirmed, but it's that Dead Island Riptide was actually supposed to be, like, a much bigger game, but they got budget cuts and had to push it out sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Because it genuinely feels like it was supposed to be a much bigger game. The pacing is like a normal speed until the last 3 or 4 missions where it just kicks up like fucking fast. And then like 6 different fucking mods get thrown at you at the end.
Okay.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunate. If it was a longer game, it probably could have been a lot better.
Good segue actually into the modding system. How do we know, or do you guys know how the like?
Oh, if Dead Island was moddable?
No, like
No,
like
actual
the mods, like the
weapon
actual
mods.
So like, you have Dead Island, right?
Mhm.
And then you have like the mod, however the modding. Because you guys said it was pretty fun, pretty
Oh
interesting.
yeah, that was definitely one of my more.
That's a big thing over there.
that like we explored a lot of.
And then you have
We were tracking all of them, trying to get all the
yeah.
mods.
But then you have like, all right, so you have Dead Island Riptide, and like if they made any changes to that, and
The only changes I would say that they made is I think they removed some mods and added others. Because like in I found out you could get claws in the original Dead Island,
Oh really?
but they were
Modded claws.
Yeah, so you'd have to
Modded
get like
brass
spiked
knuckles.
brass knuckles and you get the rending claws mod.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, but in Riptide you can just get claws as a weapon.
Yeah, they have claws.
No mods attached to it. And then you could get shock claws, and you can get toxic claws, you can get flame claws. You can mod those now. They added the staff weapon that you could mod. They added a shillelagh. I don't know
Yeah,
how
they had
the
like
fuck
a
you
guan.
pronounce
They had
that.
like a guandao essentially.
Yeah, just
That
shit,
does sound
like,
pretty
all kinds of
badass.
Yeah,
shit
it
like
was.
that.
It was. It was like my favorite weapon because right when we got to the city is right when we got the guandao,
Mhm.
and we modded it with like I think some fire mod.
I think so.
Yeah, and you literally would just.
did they keep the same damage system?
What are you talking about?
Because you said in the first one it was fire, electric, and
I was wrong because when I had said that I hadn't played it in a very long time, probably since we were in high school. But I'm playing it recently. I've gotten more information about it. There's impact weapons, which is like it just makes blunt weapons do more damage,
And
basically.
you can break stuff.
Yeah,
You can break like their arm, their
Mhm.
yeah.
that's pretty
Uh,
cool. That's pretty cool.
it's
Yeah, that's like a
Fucking
strap
fun.
for fighting like thugs. Like you can cut off both their arms, and then they're just a head, and they're pretty easy to kill beyond that. Or you can
Yeah.
break both their arms.
it makes it a lot easier to kill. But there's impact. There's bleeding mods, which is like you put barbed wire, you put nails on a baseball bat, shit like that. There's fire mods, which fire mods they catch them on fire and they'll burn until they die.
Damage over time.
Yeah, there's toxic mods, which are very similar to fire mods in the sense that you'll poison them and they'll. It's one of those weird things of like it doesn't make sense if it's
Because they're-
zombies.
Yeah, they'll get like sick and start throwing up. Which,
Yeah, and like they're supposed to
Whatever.
be dead, quote unquote. But I digress. The cool thing about toxic mods, and probably in my opinion, what they were only fucking useful for, was it made them more susceptible to fire damage.
Yeah, if they got poisoned, you literally just tap them with a fire weapon and they're on fire. Like usually you have to crit to apply the status effect.
Mm-hmm. But if they're poisoned, one hit with a fire weapon is an instant crit. Then there were shock mods, which if you crit with a shock mod, it would do damage over time like all the other ones, and it would stun them for a little bit. And they'd literally just be electrocuted.
Yeah, they start making that noise. It's funny.
It was
Thugs get really high pitched when you electrocute.
because they'd walk around, and then you hit it. It was. I loved using shock mods. Those shock blades.
Yeah, like shock machetes were the best.
Was I saw how like the whole entire design of it was like someone basically just took like a battery, like took like
It's so
electric
dumb.
wire and
That-
just put tape around
That
it.
was where like the comedy of Dead Island came in my opinion. Not in their story, but in like the absurdity of their weapons.
It's like How did you
Dude, one of the fire mods in Riptide, you could put it on a mace and make that a fire mace. It was a skull on a stick, first of all. That was the mace in the first place. It was just a skull on a stick. You just beat people with it. If you put a fire mod on it, it put an aerosol can and a lighter in the skull's mouth and would just spew the aerosol can out of the lighter, and it caused fire to come out of its eyes and mouth. And that was your fire mace.
It's pretty.
It was just dumb as
The
fuck.
weighted mod.
The weighted
The
mod?
weighted mod.
I don't understand it. Like, you could put it on a hammer.
You can put it on a lot of things.
Yeah, all it would do though, if you put it on a hammer, all it would do it would basically just put this ring around the base of the hammer, just a weight plate on the base of the hammer, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much like
It
take
does more
weights on
damage.
there. That's the weighted mod.
It's dumb
That's
as
the
fuck.
weighted mod.
Like, there's a nuts and bolts mod you can get. It also has a League of Legends reference in the first one. There's a little girl named Annie. Actually, she's not a little girl. She's like full grown, but she's regressed because of trauma, like that she's experiencing right now. She's regressed back to a little girl stage. She's like, I just want my teddy bear.
Yeah, she just wants her teddy bear. and
Her
you
name
can
is
find
Annie.
the
She
teddy
wants her
bear.
teddy bear Tibbers.
And
So
then
you
you
get her
find
Tibbers?
Svetlana or whatever her name is.
Svetlana.
Something like that.
Some bullshit. She wants brand champagne, but if you get her brand champagne, she'll give you diamonds. They're like
They're
worth 10,000.
Yeah, they're worth a lot of money to sell, and some mods take them.
Mm-hmm. You can get developer mods throughout the game through doing these like weird ass fucking Easter eggs, and they're like one-hit weapons basically, but you can't repair them because they had a weapon durability system. You just can't repair the weapons, but you can make them again if you want them.
If you want to blow some diamonds.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Diamonds.
This is kind of like a thing to get because like, oh, I got it. Look at this.
Yeah, yo, check it out. What does it do?
That's it.
The only one I ever got, I think, was the Hand of God.
Yeah, that was the one.
It was the easiest one to get. You get it in the first act very early.
Hand of God.
It was just like a one-hit punch thing.
You know anything about the new... Wait, you guys are going... Yeah, that's right. You guys are still going in blind, aren't you?
Trying.
I was going to say...
I know the world of the new one isn't as open anymore either. It's much more... What people are saying is it's much more linear. Which kind of sucks. Like, you can go into a level and still, like, go through it and then backtrack.
Yeah.
And shit like that. And you can, like, replay it, like, without the story and shit. But it's much more of, like, as if you were going through the hotel or through the sewers. It's much more, you go for that thing.
That's what you do.
Like, it's basically like you go that way. You can run back this way,
Yeah.
but you have to go that way.
I see what you're saying. Like, I know some games like, obviously there's Bioshock, how Bioshock's linear, non-linear, where, you know, you can explore
it's
what you want.
technically open world.
You're
but
rewarded for doing it, but when
if you want to progress that story,
you gotta go into the bottleneck.
gotta
You gotta go
bottleneck yourself. Yeah.
But that was, I know I loved Bioshock for doing that.
Bioshock's. I think Bioshock did it super well too. Like, there's a lot of games that do that. I'm gonna be for real, I couldn't think of any off the top of my head. I know if I had time and thought about it, I'd be able to think of them.
Yeah. Dishonored. Dishonored functions.
Darksiders, kind of like that.
Darksiders too, yeah.
Kind of puzzle.
There's a couple of them that do that.
Mm-hmm.
Bioshock just does it the best, I think.
I think, personally.
It's just, it pulls it off because it still makes you feel like you're going that way out of your own volition rather than it forcing you to.
Oh wait, I actually got a good comparison. I think based on what you're saying about Deadline 2 is, I don't know if you played, Deadline 2. I don't know if you played Dead Space 2.
No, I haven't played Dead Space.
Dead Space 2, Dead Space 2. It was same thing, same concept. It was more linear than non-linear. You know, you had a strict path that you had to go, but you could take detours, like not detours, but you were rewarded and you were basically incentivized because it's a survival situation to explore everything.
Yeah.
But the path was always set, as in this is where you're gonna go.
Yeah.
Whereas that game was still good.
Yeah. Whereas, but like compared to the first Dead Island, it was like you wake up in the bungalow after doing the prologue. You go help Cinemoy, and then after that, he tells you like, "Hey, can you get the key to the lifeguard tower?" You don't have to do that. You can go wherever you want, as long as it's in the resort.
How do you?
If you want to get to the city, to the next area, then you progress the story, and now you have 2 open world maps to explore.
Oh, you can go back.
Yeah, you can go back and forth. I mean, you can do that in the new one.
Yeah.
But like I said, like you can go do all these other side quests in this massive. It's actually like a fucking big map too.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of, like you look at it, and it's like, oh, I could sprint across that. No, it's got like these winding turns. It's got these. Some bungalows will be open, some will be closed, some you have to open. If you go in this one, there's a quest. There's also, for some reason, a fucking Ted Bundy Easter egg.
They just went all out.
There's a Ted Bundy Easter egg, a Tijuana Massacre Easter egg, a Jason Voorhees Easter egg, a
Yeah,
League
straight
of
up
Legends
dude with a
Easter egg.
chainsaw sitting in the jungle.
Yeah. It's not even a legendary chainsaw, which sucks, and it takes fuel to use. Like, instead of a durability, you have to find fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And the only place you can find that fuel is in his hut. So if you want more fuel for the chainsaw, you have to go back to his hut, kill him again, and get the fuel.
Huh.
It ain't worth it, chief.
But it's straight up a Jason Voorhees. Like, it's not just like, oh, it's a dude with a mask and a chainsaw. Ha, ha, ha. No, you go in there, you fight him, you kill him. And then he's got the fucking Jason Voorhees shrine to his mom in the room. Like,
I see what
insane.
you're saying, yeah.
There's all kinds of Easter eggs that they put in that game, too.
There's a lot in the first one.
Something else I want to ask too is Cole was mentioning about Cole made a note about how the damage system and about how it's like reflected in the enemies. I know that they've done an update to how like damage is like damage, not damage as in numbers, but damage as in how it is reflected on the
Their
enemies. So
new
like,
fucking flesh system.
like how what was it? You hit someone with electricity and it's a auditory like vocalization.
Yeah, like you can aim for their legs or their arms.
Yeah, or like breaking their arm, so now they can't use it. Like, it's considered-
it affects how you hit them.
One thing that was funny in the first game to me is that no matter what, it didn't matter what kind of health they had, if you broke their leg, they were dead. Like insta dead. If you broke a leg, dead.
But I imagine it was harder to. It's probably harder to.
Oh yeah. It was much harder. But if you somehow did it, insta kill.
Oh, if they're on the ground too, you got crits really easy too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that was
You
like,
could just kick them.
you want to like stumble them right and then like start kicking them. I guess.
We'd run, jump, and kick them.
Oh yeah.
And that'd pretty much flatten them instantaneously. And
Yeah.
you run up to their head and you just go.
If you have like no durability on your weapons, because what they had a stamina system, they had their own stamina. So if you got them to run out of stamina, which you could do by damaging them, they would fall. And then once they're on the ground, they have no stamina, which I think also means you get crits. So you could just stand over them after they lose all their stamina and just start kicking the shit out of them. Like you could kick like a group of like 8 of them on the ground.
I know like the
over and over
downtime
again.
too. When I saw it was like
Oh yeah, it was so
just
fast.
like spamming it. You
But
see
it'd run your stamina down so much that like if there was another one that was still up near you, they just slap the shit out of you from behind, and you just go flying.
What was it? What about with the fire and everything? What would you say is like the has it changed over? How would you say it's changed like from say Dead Island to Dead Island Riptide? Are there any changes to?
From Dead Island Riptide and their combat system, the only like notable change I'd really say.
I was saying like damage that's like
Oh, visible damage.
like how it's done to the enemies.
Are you talking about from Dead Island Riptide, or Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide to the Dead Island 2?
I guess just like in general, like because I don't know about specifically about the changes and how they
Dead
redesigned the
Island and
system.
Dead Island Riptide, there wasn't like a big change between those two because I believe it was still running the same systems. It was the same style of like in Dead Island, if you hit them with blades, cuts would start appearing on them, but it would all be in like pre-rendered places. So like you could hit them from the left side and a cut would appear on their right ribs. It didn't make sense, but it also gave you that visual indicator of you're doing something, which was cool. It's awesome. With Dead Island 2 though, the whole flesh system, basically like each piece on them is a different like piece. Like if you hit their pec, if you hit their pecs with a blade, it'll cut off that like pectoral muscle. If you
cut them titties off.
yeah, if you hit like their hand, it'll
Give them
cut
a
their
mammogram.
hand off.
Or not, a mastectomy. There you go.
Yeah,
Give 'em a
butchered
vasectomy.
that one.
Yeah, whoopsies. Two
But,
different. But yeah.
But like shit like that, and that's one thing that's got me super hyped. Because as much as like I talk about the story of Dead Island, their gameplay was so good, so good.
I do think like Flame would be like, well, like you actually see like the
You already
Flesh
already
melting.
did that on the originals. It wasn't as like high graphics, but like if you burned one of them, their body would be charred, like just burned skin.
yeah.
And I think if you do an explosion, because you can blow up propane tanks and shit, if you exploded one of them, what was it? Was it Logan who would shout it? I think if you're playing as Logan, he'd say something like, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning."
Some of them bitches be strapped.
Oh yeah,
Some of
some
them
come
zombies
with
would be
fucking
strapped.
knives. So fucking annoying, because you'll see one from far away and they'll start walking.
Dude,
up
they'll
to you.
literally turn around, just be like,
just sling a knife at you.
dude,
They'll just
100%
slap you in the
accuracy,
face.
dude.
How is that possible?
And then you like chunk to half, and you're like, holy shit, what just happened? Like, 'cause you can't even see it coming or nothing. All you see is his hand go.
Because like the other thing is too is they'll do that sort of spasm and like wave and shit, and then sometimes they'll do it with a knife and just throw it at you.
What is it? Like when
It's
they go
like,
like, you see their arm just kind of go like that.
Yeah, and then sometimes they'll do that with nothing in their hand, but then other times they'll do it and you'll suddenly get hit in the chest with a fucking machete, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Get like knocked down or something. Be like, oh, well, there you go.
By far though, the easiest like people to fight in that game were the humans.
Oh,
They were so fucking weak.
You said you could just shoot him in the head and it's like insta kill.
You could shoot them in the head if you ran up with like a
you got
baseball
melee
bat.
on, dude, you fucking
Oh,
hard,
yeah.
dude. Humans
They were
just got
instant
slaughtered, dude.
Oh yeah. All right. I gotta ask this question too. I'm actually sure. All right. What was the skill tree in the game?
Oh my
what
God.
were the things that they've done? Like what?
So
what did
they had
do?
one like kitted out just for the characters, so like how we were talking about their
No,
specialties.
all of their skill trees were completely different.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I thought all their survival trees were pretty
Their
similar.
survival trees they have similar things, but a lot of them are like different places. So like, I think lockpicking was always in the first category of survival. It was always one of the first like 3 or 4 survival skills that you'd unlock. But each character had a different passive, a different weapons. There were 3 skill trees: Fury, Combat, and Survival. Each one had a different survival passive. Each one had a different combat, like fighting style that got buffed with their combat tree. And each one had a different Fury that was activated with their Fury tree. Sam B's Fury tree pulls out his fist, goes ham. His combat, it was blunt weapons do more damage, and then I think at the end you get like a ground pound type of thing, where like he would smack the ground with a sledgehammer and create this massive shockwave. And then the survival tree was health regeneration. I think the last passive you can get on it, all the passives were just upgrades of the last one. The last like tick of it was like you regenerate like 40% of your health every 5 seconds or some shit. It was strong. It was really good. Logan specifically was OP as fuck because he'd have like a 50% chance to get your weapon back when you threw it. Because his whole backstory was being a quarterback.
Yeah. Boom.
Made no fucking sense logistically. OP as fuck though.
When you get it back, would it be like? Would it just
Instantly
kind
back to your hand.
Oh, like so you just kind of do it like this, or would it have to, like you see it fly back?
No, you just pull
you
it
just
back
pull
up.
it back out. Okay.
It's stupid as shit. OP as fuck.
Weird. Like that'd just be kind of weird. Just
Yeah. Oh, going back to mods I want to talk about real quick. Some of the mods you get for the game weren't even like you put it on a weapon. It was just a brand new craftable. You could get like a Molotov mod. Like that's not what I'm talking about. though.
Dio bomb.
You get a Dio bomb, which is making a fucking grenade out of deodorant. Don't know how the fuck that's done. Awesome as shit. you could make meat bait, which is whenever an infected runs at you, if you have a blunt weapon and you hit him in the head, it'll splat their head. Creates this fucking satisfying sound, just like
it's
a
like
watermelon
And
piece.
then they'll just be
fucking
like that, like
crushed.
this. And their head squirting blood.
Yeah, they just fall over.
And you get meat.
You could pick up their meat off the ground, and you could take it to a fucking crafting bench. You can make meat bait. And when you throw meat bait, all the zombies around get attracted to that meat bait.
Huh.
But there was another mod you could get called exploding meat bait, and it required meat bait to make. So you'd make meat bait, then you'd make exploding meat bait, and it'd be the pipe bomb from Left 4 Dead.
Mm-hmm.
You throw it on the ground, they all get attracted to it, and then there's no beeping. It's just
Oh yeah. I was talking about the pipe.
Awesome.
I was moving the
Yeah,
pipe.
yeah.
But all right, hold on. Back to the what was it? Quarterback.
Logan.
Logan. There you go. So one of his was basically you throw it.
That was
comes
his
right back.
survival passive. It was just called boomerang, I think.
Mhm.
Where you throw it and you get it back. His fury was he'd pull out like several throwing knives, twirl them around his hand, and then not even use like that hand to throw them. He wouldn't even throw them like you would throw a knife. He'd throw them like you're fucking throwing bills. And
Yeah,
stuff.
he'd be like, he'd spin around like, while you're serving food or
like
something.
you would also think like he has that animation of like no, he's,
Yeah. No, it's just
it's just like
what did it like increase his attack rate or something, bro?
Base.
No, he gets like a one shot, infinite one shot.
And like his upgrades in the Fury tree would allow him to hit more enemies. Like it allowed him to throw more knives at once.
Gotcha.
And then I think there was also
Or,
like a
penetration?
ricochet you could get. Ricochet, not ricochet.
It was already super strong, just base level.
Yeah. He was easily one of the strongest characters.
Part
I-
you also had basically ranged in like
Yeah. I haven't played a ton of Shenmei. If I
I can't
remember
remember hers.
correctly, if I remember correctly, her passive has something to do with health kits, I think. I don't remember though. Her combat had something to do with like blades could apply poison damage on their own, I think. Don't remember completely. It was either that or like poison damage would be better and blades would be better.
Mm-hmm.
And then once again, if I remember correctly, her fury was something about pulling out kind of a little bit racist, I'm not gonna lie, pulling out a katana, considering she's an Asian character.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would also do like poison damage. I think she revolved a lot around poison and blades.
So if you said so poison from hold on. I might be misremembering, but poison basically increases your chance to light someone on fire.
Yes, that's one of the things, but also it'll make them sick and like it'll deal damage over time. They'll like puke.
So it's like a
stomach.
status effect and damage.
Yeah.
Kind of like shock, just a different thing.
So if you went down her path and you basically put like a mod, like you went, I guess if she had like a permanent
I think
poison
it had a
passive,
higher chance to poison or something like that.
Okay,
I think
I
that
was
was one
gonna
of her passives.
you had like one where it's like all of your blades have automatic poison on them.
Or
It's like
it makes poison
you can
ones
increase the
useless.
durability of sharp weapons.
Yeah, that was one thing that would happen.
Decrease the cost of repairing sharp weapons, and like every character had that for their weapon class.
Except Logan.
Yeah, except Logan because he was throw, so that was like knives and machetes
Yeah.
typically.
Yeah, and a lot of them also had like general like I don't know if they all had it, but I know Logan and Sam B had passives where it was like increases the durability of modded weapons. Useful as fuck. Always take that passive. Just shit like that though. A lot of them have Fury generates faster when you do this thing. Perna's, I have no idea. I've never played as Perna.
Yeah, I've never played as Perna. She was all about guns, and guns are so hard.
She
to
was
download.
about guns and leadership, which was like really
co-op.
yeah. If you're not playing co-op, it's not as good to pick her.
Mm-hmm.
But like a lot of her passes would be stuff like your teammate's fury does more damage. I think it was also like your own fury. She had a lot of like you said, gun passives.
More ammo, cheaper.
It's because her
bullets.
whole
Find like
backstory.
more ammo.
Probably just
Like
something
scavenge
like
from
that.
random.
Or you can hold
You
bigger
can-
stacks of ammo.
Yeah, that too
So
probably.
it's probably like, yeah.
Yeah.
Was she a soldier?
Her whole backstory was like she leads a mercenary group, I
Yeah.
think. Like I think the whole reason she's on the island, the whole reason Sam B's on the island is he's doing a concert there. And I think the whole reason she's on the island is she's hired as the bodyguard for Sam B.
Oh.
There's this cool little like cutscene where Who Do You Voodoo Bitch plays
Yeah.
at the beginning, and it gives you like an intro for every character. First, you meet Logan, who's sitting at the bar, drunk as fuck because he's depressed that he lost the Super Bowl, I think, and got injured and can't play football anymore. It's a bit sad, I'm not gonna lie, because he's like, I could have won it all, man. He's like, I could have done it. And like one of his passives too is he regenerates more stamina when he's drunk, because you can actually get drunk in the game. You find alcohol, which you can either make
Boost
Molotovs
damage,
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also boosts your damage. Like it do all types of shit. But it makes it to where you cannot fucking see. It puts like motion blur maxed.
It's like, how does this ult work with that? You're just like, woo, just starts throwing them all over. Fan
The
of
ult-
knives.
No, the ult
Fan-
locks in.
The ult locks in.
It
Okay.
locks onto.
They want to make sure that hey,
You get 100% accuracy tracking too.
Nice.
It's like
and
Yeah,
you say
you get it with his ult, and like
and he still couldn't win the Super Bowl.
I know, right? But with his normal like throw, with any character's normal throw, you somehow have a chance to miss. They'll be right in front of you, and you'll throw it like far off to the right, and you'll just see your fucking machete spin off into the water, and you're like, I gotta go get that when I'm done here.
XCOM levels of targeting.
God, it's so dumb sometimes. I've thrown it at a zombie, and I've seen it pass through the zombie I was throwing at to hit the zombie behind him.
No,
It was cool,
That'd be
but it was like I'd like to hit the one running at me, about to hit me.
the one about to sit there and take a bite out.
Yeah. But, see, Logan's at the bar getting drunk. You're in the eyes of some random dude who's also drunk as fuck at Sam B's concert. Logan's at the bar getting drunk. You stumble away from Logan through the crowd up onto stage somehow with Sam B, who flips you off and shoves you off
down.
stage. When you get up from being shoved off the stage, Perna picks you up, knees you in the balls, calls you a git, and shoves you back to the ground. You start getting back up, and then like a security guard comes up to you and he's like, hey, are you okay, man? Like, let's get you to your hotel room. And a fucking infected jumps on his back and takes a bite out of his neck. No one pays attention. They're still watching Sam B. And it's not like, oh, we're at the back of the crowd. He's in the middle of the fucking crowd. And like everybody's like, voodoo, you voodoo, bitch. But your guy brushes that off completely and is like, whatever, stumbles away back to the hotel. As he's going up, he walks into the women's restroom where Shin Mei is attending I guess someone who was bitten or
I think.
killed or something like that.
Yeah.
Who's just laying on the ground. And Shin Mei's like, hey, you can't be in here. Because you're playing as a dude, or you're in the eyes of a dude who walked into the women's restroom. It's like, can't be in here. And you go, wash your hands, and then walk back out and into your room, where you pick up a bottle of alcohol, fucking down it, and pass out.
I remember that actually being one of the. I actually watched that intro, even though I didn't even know the
Such a
game.
good intro.
I rewatched the intro like multiple times.
I have that song on my fucking playlist. I love that song.
Oh,
There was a reference to it in Dying Light too. I forgot about that. You could walk in. There were two references to Dead Island in the beginning of Dying Light too. You could you would walk into this mansion that you're looting with one of your buddies, and one of the records was just "Hoodoo You Voodoo" by Sam B. And you'd look at it, and there was an interactable with it. And you'd look at it, and your guy would go, "Huh, Hoodoo You Voodoo." What a weird song, and walk away.
Does that officially make it canon?
That's what a lot of people. I mean, I believe it's the same disease because it's like a mutated form of rabies. But I think in Dead Island they call it like the Kukri virus or something like that.
But
But
when like what is it later on down the line? It's Is
Yeah.
when you start getting like what is it? The people who hate UV, hate ultraviolet.
Oh
What do you call those things? Like later on in the stages, that's
I know
when we
what you're
start
talking
getting to that. Actually, we have our own type thing. We have a plan for what to talk about next week. Is to see about the update about the game, like
Yeah.
seeing what you guys like about the game.
if it's complete shit or if it's okay.
We could spend the next however long trashing it.
I know, right? Apparently, the Metacritic reviews have come out, and a lot of them are like 70, 75, 80, somewhere between there, which isn't too bad. That's where I heard about like, yeah, they kind of skimped on the story for the gameplay.
It's
And
kind of
for Dead Island, it's one of those games where I'd be okay with that.
yeah. There's some games like that you don't play it like what is it? Oh my god, it's Super Mario. Those Elder Scrolls really kind of, but mostly I was referring to Grand Theft Auto.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
no one
yeah.
plays, no one really
No one
plays.
plays.
Although the story in Grand Theft Auto 5 was good.
It was a banger story.
It was a banger.
But like no one
It
really
had good
plays.
characters.
Yeah.
No one really plays it though too much
Except for the story,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they play it because they want to
You know,
I-
kill hookers.
steal money.
kind of disagree on Elder Scrolls, but that's a topic for another day, I think.
I mean, yeah, I was just saying like I know like when people typically talk about Elder Scrolls, it's not really the story so much as
Yeah.
the cool things that they've done.
Fair.
Like the gameplay is what they really focus on.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Mhm.
I'd say for Skyrim, Oblivion,
Yeah, that's
a
what I
little
mean.
little bit of a different story.
That's
I think Oblivion's story is
I said-
fucking amazing.
I said Elder Scrolls. I meant Skyrim. It was a flip on my part.
Oh, good. But yeah, I'm actually really. That's where I heard like, oh, they skipped on the story for the gameplay,
Mhm.
which albeit I love original Dead Island story with all those points that I made,
Mhm.
all those like. There are some awesome like background stories happening that unless you paid attention, you wouldn't get to like find out about.
Yeah, a lot of them you just kind of like ran into and ended up doing something for.
Yeah, but one of the main ones I was thinking of was when you go to the city, if you do like quests in the city, you'll be in there for a while. And if you listen to the radio over the time, Cinemoy is talking to you. He'll update you with things, and over time he'll say like, "Hey, we found this girl. We think she's infected. She's pretty sick. We're keeping her in the sick bay." If you go back, there's no little girl there, but you'll hear about it. And Cinemoy will keep updating you with it. Hey, she's getting sicker. We don't know like what to do. Blah 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 blah. Keeps going, and then eventually he comes back on the radio. And is like, "Hey man, that girl I was telling you about, she died and got infected, and we had to put her down." Like blah blah blah. And it's such a cool like background story that's happening where unless you are listening to the radio and like looking for that, you're not gonna hear it. You're
Like
not
where
gonna recognize
the
it.
world is essentially not revolving around you, but more so like you're part of it.
Yes, absolutely.
I
And
just-
it's one of those cool ass, like, looking up at the stars moment.
Mhm.
One of those moments where it's like, I'm not as big as I thought I was.
Actually, it's funny you say that too, because there's this thing that I'm not sure if they developed. I don't know if they've studied it, but it was something that it's like a phenomenon for like astronauts, and it's that whenever they go onto the International Space Station, they have like this moment of like, what is it, revelation of like just how small they are
Oh, yeah.
in the world. You know, looking at the planet and then how we're kind of like ants.
Yeah. We're ants to another ant's anthill, basically.
Mhm.
It's
How small you really are,
cool,
you know?
cool ass, like,
Yeah.
thought.
But like, yeah, like I think a video game basically put you in a situation where you realize that, you know.
Dead Island, in my opinion, does that so well. With like not only that, but with so many other ones. Jin's story throughout the first game is amazing, in my opinion. I not the middle part. The middle part is very dicey, and I'm not going to talk about it. But when you find her, you are tasked with Cinemoy with getting this giant like brick truck, this bank truck, getting it armored up so you can drive it to the city. So you go to the mechanic, the mechanic's there with his daughter, And he's like, yeah, I'll fix your car up. But, like, you gotta protect the shop while I do it. So he fixes your car, protect the shop. It's just like 8 infected come running at you with like 2 or 3 at different intervals. Knock their heads off, whatever. Kill them. He opens the door back up and he's like, yep, car's all ready. And it's obviously just one of those like place holding moments.
Mm-hmm.
Cool though. It's a cool little moment of like it fixes up your car and makes it look dope. You go and talk to him again. He's like, hey, like I did this for you. Now you gotta do something for me. I want you to take my daughter with you. And he pulls out his arm where he's got a bandage and there's blood still pouring out of it. And he's like, I'm infected. I'm not gonna live.
Mm-hmm.
I want her to live. And you're like, okay, I'll take her with us. She goes through hell in the city. She gets all kinds of shit happen to her. It's awful, awful time for her. And then you come back, she's like, hey, I'm gonna go do this real quick. And you're like, okay. Peace be with you. Whatever. She goes back to her dad's garage, opens up the doors to where he is infected, and comes out and she kills him. And it's this very like touching moment where it's like this whole story beat never revolved around me.
Mm-hmm.
It was always Jin. And she's very prominent in the game. Like a lot of story beats will revolve around her all the way until the end of the game. Where unfortunately, big spoiler alert. At the end of the game, you get up to the helipad. It's you, Jin, your group, the other 3 characters you didn't pick. A dude named Charon, who was like this world-renowned hacker that got locked up in the prison, and Riker and his wife. And Riker's wife is infected, and he's trying to cure her with the cure that you brought him.
Mm-hmm.
But she accidentally bites him. Not accidentally, but she bites him, infects him, and Jin shoots her. So Riker turns around and shoots Jin and kills her.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens in such quick succession that you're left stunned
You can't process
as
it.
Riker injects himself with the cure, starts to mutate, and goes berserk.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like the last special infected of the first game. And you have to fight Riker on top of the roof. I've only done that boss fight once. I've only taken the time to get there once.
I was dead ass.
Dead ass asleep. Told that man I'm at the end of the game, and he goes. So okay. Beat the game.
And I woke up in the morning, I'm like, hey man, you ready to beat that island? He's like, already beat. I was like, what do you mean?
Let me go through this full fucking story real quick. We restarted the game that fucking night. We said, alright, tonight's the night we beat that island. I was staying the night at his house. Like, when I got there, we restarted the game. We're like, tonight's the night we beat it. Traded off every time we died, every time we completed a mission. Gets close to the end of the game, basically. And there was one part that we could never get past. You have to escort this tribesman, however the fuck you want to say that word, through the jungle. And at one point, there's just this giant horde, basically, where he either dies to it or you die to it. And it's so hard to get past. We're on this for like 2 or 3 hours. And at one point, it's just me playing, and I'm like, I finally beat it. I finally get past it, and it auto saves. So I turn over, and Cole's asleep. So I nudge him, I wake him up, I'm like, dude, I'm past that part. We're like, what, 15, 16, some shit like that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude, I'm past that part. And he goes, keep going. I'm like, okay. Beat the whole 3rd act. Move on to the 4th act. There's 4 acts in the game. When you get to the 4th act, you can't go back. So I wake him up again. I'm like, dude, I'm on the 4th act. I'm almost to the end of the game. He's like, keep going without me. I'm like, okay. I get to the end of the fucking game. I'm like, dude, I'm about to beat the game. The only response I get is, I'm like, okay. I beat the fucking game. And I go, I just beat that island, dude. I just beat that island. Silence. So I'm like, all right, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I get up because we're both in the bed. That's the best place to see the TV. I think it was right in front of your bed at the time.
Yeah, it was like right at that height.
So I get up out of that and I just go into the recliner that he's got like sitting next to the bed. And I just sleep in that. Wake up the next day, it's like his mom coming to wake us up. And he sits up and he stretches and he looks at me and he goes, "All right, dude, I'm sorry I beat that island." And I go,
That's exactly how I did it. I was so excited.
he goes, "I'm so ready to beat that island." And I went, "Man, I beat that shit last night." He goes, "What? Why didn't you wake me up?" And I said, "I did. 4 times."
Goober over here.
I know, right, dude?
Goober. Why'd you beat this without me?
The worst part is, too, because I didn't realize how short Riptide was. So we got Riptide and we're like, all right, we're going to beat this one together, though. I was like, okay, yeah. Took it home because I was just going to grind for some of the weapons. We were either hanging out or staying the night at one of our houses the next, like, weekend. So I was like, all right, I'm going to take this home. I'm going to grind for some weapons, grind for some mods. We're going to beat this shit. I was like, ah. Didn't realize how short it was. Suddenly, I had, like, the credits rolling. I'm like, what? That's the end of the game? Like, it definitely feels like there was supposed to be more.
Mm-hmm.
But, whatever.
Yeah.
And, like...
Didn't it, like, come out, like, what, like a year after or something?
2 or 3, I think.
Like, very, like, it made you kind of think, like, this was really, like, rushed. Like, really fast.
But, yeah, like, I'm watching the credits and I'm, like, watching the end cutscene. And I'm sitting there going, happened again. Oops. So I pulled out my phone and I just text Cole and I'm like, hey, man, I beat Riptide. He's like, what? Why'd you beat it without me? I was like, I didn't think the game would end. I was like, I didn't know.
Gotcha. Surprise.
Got him.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was still a fun game, man.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with it. Other than what was normally wrong with that island, all the glitches.
Yeah. Those are features, okay. They're no longer glitches.
Yeah, it's a
point.
feature when I can't get out of the power substation.
That's a Bethesda feature. You see in the fine print.
Yeah. Fucking Bethesda games.
Alrighty then. So it comes out, you said this Friday?
21st.
The 21st. By the
Okay.
time this episode airs, it'll have been 5 days since it came out.
I'd say, or we could, yeah. I'd say that'd be the idea, but we're definitely going to, we're gonna review this next week. What is it?
Yeah.
Our next,
We're gonna make a comeback to this.
yeah, we're gonna come back and I'll sit there, talk about all of the changes that they've made.
Yeah.
See what's broken, what are some
Because-
exploits.
Both me and Cole have at least like 3 or 4 days to play it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably be done with the game.
Yeah, I found for real. We'll have 3 days to
I'm
play
gonna
it.
grind that game.
What is that? 72 hours? I'll
72.
put 90 hours into
Yeah,
that game.
Friday I'm gonna put a lot of hours, and Monday I'm gonna put a lot of hours for sure.
Putting a lot of hours in Friday and probably Saturday night. Probably growing the shit out of it. I hope they make a return to like really good modding systems.
Mods, unique zombies.
Unique zombies, named weapons. That was one thing we didn't touch on.
Yeah,
They would have
that's
named
right. They'd have
legendary
like
weapons.
just orange, like it'd be like an orange machete, but then they'd have like a machete that was like a name.
So they'd have the orange machete and then they'd have the Tijuana machete.
Mm.
And those were like true legendaries.
They'd have like an orange sledgehammer and then they'd have Gabriel's sledgehammer. And that was just awesome as fuck to get.
Yeah, more craftables, more mods.
What's up?
Hold on. I was just making sure battery. But yeah, my battery's about to run out, and
Okay.
I think this is a good. I would say
Good
this is a
little
good
endpoint.
stopping
Mhm.
point right here.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Thank you for
You want to
watching.
wrap it up? Oh shoot.
Thank you for watching. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe to come back for more. Subscribe to hear our thoughts on Dead Island 2. If you really liked it, leave a fucking comment. Tell us what you like about Dead Island. Tell us what you like about this podcast. Tell us what you like about zombie games in general, because fuck man, there's not enough, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, follow Twitter. I need to make an Instagram, but follow it. It should be made by the time this goes out.
Make one and follow it.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. This was Midnight Coffee Shop. We will be back next week.
There's just one problem here though. Is that we call it Midnight Coffee Shop, and it's 11:12.
Well, do you want to go till midnight?
No, you
Yeah,
guys
that's
are-
what I thought.
We're solid. I got to sleep.
Just cut that part. Just cut that part.
Just cut it back.